special in store for you. The grandest spectacle, the greatest show of all, Johnny Bang Bang Show. Here's your host, Robert Gifford.
That's right, it's me. I am the one and only. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Bang Bang Show is the game. Robert Gifford is the name. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 2. Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling as we know it is back. AEW's hitting on all cylinders. Monday Night Raw just got interesting, and SmackDown has been, I would say, controlling and carrying the WWE product now for the greater part of a year, especially during the COVID months. It's just something better. I don't know who's writing for it, but it's definitely a better show. Monday Night Raw has been struggling, but they got interesting this past week. They made a change, and that's where we're going to start today's show is there. They made a change at the helm. They decided that Bobby Lashley is no longer going to be the Universal Champion. They're not going to, he in the Hurt Business, whatever's left of him, so to speak, MVP and Bobby Lashley have fallen to the one and only Big E. Big E in his briefcase cashed in on Monday night, and next thing you know, Bobby Lashley is down for the count. Of course, they're going to kind of run this back. That's just how it's going to be, and that's the way it should be. They're going to run it back at Extreme Rules, but it was interesting to see them pull the trigger, especially on the first night of Monday Night Football. And I don't know if that's the reason why they did it or not, but that's an interesting night to do it. And after viewing the ratings, I'm not sure it worked the way they did the thread, the way they did the promotion, but it's definitely going to work for next Monday. It's generated some buzz. It should be a good Monday Night Raw number next Monday. But for now, why did they do this? Why did they decide to put the strap on Big E when it felt like they were not ready or wanting to do that this soon? I totally believe that they did it to counter, well, all the things that have been taking place in the other company. People say that I'm wrong. People say that AEW is not Monday Night Raw's competition on Mondays, and there's truth to that for sure. But I think what has happened here, especially on Raw, is you've had a decline in numbers, and especially the 18 to 49-year-olds. And when you have an 18 to 49-year-old demographic that's being won for the first time by AEW Dynamite, beating the Raw demographic at the 18 to 49-year-olds, I would think that would make Vince McMahon start to say, okay, let's change this up. Whether or not it was counter-programming for that reason or not, it happened. Monday Night Raw was touted for Randy Orton and Bobby Lashley to go against each other, and it was a really good match. I think it held its own. Bobby Lashley and Randy Orton told a pretty good story, and as luck would have it, Big E cashed in. Big E ended up winning the WWE Universal Championship. I think it's the right move. Whether or not it happened too soon or not, I think it's the right move because Bobby Lashley, in my opinion, look, it was a Lifetime Achievement Award. I think Bobby Lashley was worthy enough to carry the belt, but for how long is debatable. And it kind of goes to the point of whether or not he should have ever carried the belt in the first place, because people that carry the belt should really be somebody who can carry the belt. Now, I agree that this is the best I've ever seen Bobby Lashley, and it's still debating whether or not he should have been carrying the belt. Roman Reigns, no debate there. You got to have somebody that can carry the company on their back, put asses in the seats, so to speak. And in this case, I'm not sure Bobby Lashley was moving the needle. Maybe he was, but he wasn't doing it for me. You know, there's only certain matches that he would be in that I would actually, I would want to see. I would love to see a Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar story. They could have told that story. Actually, that's the route I probably would have went. I would have sat on Big E for a while. I would have made Brock Lesnar beat Bobby Lashley for the Universal Championship. And then you could have done this thing where Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns were actually kind of coinciding together. They're actually, Paul Heyman was able to get them to play nice with each other for just a little bit until the big Survivor Series, kind of clash because it's champion versus champion. And then that kind of messes with the fray of the dynamic that is Lesnar, Reigns, Bloodline, and Heyman. But they decided not to go that route. I think they could have. It would have been an interesting thing for Lashley. Definitely would have got to see the payoff between Lesnar and Lashley. And I don't know when that's ever going to happen or if it's ever going to happen at this pace. Because right now the story would be forced, and I'm not sure that there is a a big feel for that unless they fight at WrestleMania, because right now it's touted that Rock is going to be fighting Roman Reigns at WrestleMania in 38. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how the whole thing plays out. But I will say Monday Night Raw finally was interesting. That's about as far as I'm willing to go. Majority of that show is still, you can fly right through it. Alexa Bliss is my favorite female wrestler, and I think she's not going to win at Extreme Rules. Something creative might happen, but it's interesting, and it's very fun to see her back into a title picture as a singles wrestler again, because she is a 5-time women's champion. She is somebody that has held that title many times over and has done a fantastic job while doing so. I don't want to spend too much longer on Monday Night Raw, but I will say this. The question I'm going to ask now is, if I'm debating whether or not Bobby Lashley is worthy of that, carrying that title, the question then becomes, is Big E. And does Big E, now formed again with the New Day, are they some type of entity that can be entertaining enough for us to, especially as a face, right? WWE doesn't have any faces right now that are carrying championships. You've got Roman Reigns carrying the WWE Championship on that side. You got the Universal Champion that was Bobby Lashley. You've got Charlotte, who's the women's champion. I mean, your major champions right there are all heels. So in this case now, since they didn't put the strap on Edge and Bryan Danielson's now in AEW, who's your big face? Now it's Big E. Are you going to be compelled to watch him defend that championship night in and night out? And in my opinion, if they do it right, the answer is yes. Big E has huge freaking charisma. When he wants to be serious, it's there. When he wants to keep it light, it's there. But either way, it's definitely something to see, and I'm excited to see what he does with it. And if they give him, kind of the rope to do it. Last year, Drew McIntyre, in my opinion, would have been a fantastic face champion, but the problem was there was no crowd. And then they kind of saw him do it, and he held it for a while, and I thought he did a damn good job of carrying that belt throughout the COVID era. But the problem is that now you want something fresh. And Drew McIntyre is going to have to wait until he kind of comes back around again, because there's another guy that I think if, lightning can hit, or I don't want to say lightning strikes because that makes us feel like he's not worthy of it. But if the timing can happen for him, I think he's somebody that WWE can really use to compete. But you got to take the training wheels off these guys. And I got to tell you, I don't think it's going to happen. WWE, for all things I read, is very happy with their children and their older than 49 being their demographic, because that's where their money is. And who's going to tell them anything different? I know I'm not going to. So Big E is going to be an interesting champion. I think he can carry it. And it's kind of the final thing I'll say there. Let's transition over to Tuesday night this week. We had a very, very fun NXT 2.0, they're calling it. And man, was this a fun show or what? I had to say, when I first saw the color scheme, I'm like, okay, it's unique, it's different. I think they're going to go in a different direction, and boy, did they. The problem is that it's not the NXT that we knew just 1 year ago, not the NXT we knew just 6 months ago. But it is something that is a little familiar, that makes us feel like, okay, there could be some stars on the up and up. I definitely love the Dexter Lumis. I think he's a freaking star. But I have some questions. Tommaso Ciampa, what is there left for him to do? They just put the belt on him. What is there left for him to do? I'm not sure I know. Does he excite you as an NXT champion? Does he scream new? I thought they might put it on the old Steiner boy. His name is slipping me now, but they didn't do that, and I'm not sure, maybe they should have, but Tommaso Ciampa is your champion again? Is that what we really want? I'm a Pete Dunne guy, but again, would he have been the right choice? I know Tommaso Ciampa's been on record saying that he's not trying to go up to the main roster, but man, he's only in his 30s. you would think there'd be some really good competition up there for him. I would love to see a Tommaso Ciampa versus an Edge, or a Tommaso Ciampa versus a Seth Rollins, or, somebody of those Cesaro, Riddle. I'd love to see that again, just to see him fight some of these, get into some of these fights that I think would be great storytelling matches, great wrestling matches, because that's what he does. But they're not going to go that route. It looks like they decided to put the strap on him and see how he does, because Samoa Joe got hurt. I don't know. You guys tell me, is it the right call? Is it the right call? Answer the question at Instagram. You guys can go to Johnny Bang Bang Wrestling Podcast on Instagram. It's Johnny Bang Bang, at Johnny Bang Bang. You guys can, I'll put it up there. You guys tell me. Is Tommaso Ciampa the right choice? I don't know. We'll find out. Is there any love left for that bearded man? Him and Goldie are together. I wanted to talk a little bit, though, about NXT 2.0 and the way they did the wedding. I thought that was a freaking home run. Loved every aspect of that, all the way to Austin Theory and his meme faces, to just the way they told the story. It was light. I love how they filled the room. And you're waiting for the swerve. When and how is this going to go wrong? And what I love about it is that it didn't. And if I recall, I read something on the internet that it's the first wedding to go right since Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. So you're talking 30 plus years there that they had to cover in order to get that thing right. Just great, hilarious, a little sweet, little corny. But we got to hear Dexter Lumis talking. Who didn't want that? I got to hear just enough of Dexter Lumis for me to be happy. I didn't want to hear any more than that. I love the way they kind of set it up, the original with the thumbs up when it came to the vows. And then you're like, oh, okay, we're not going to get him speaking. And then how is he going to get around the I do? And then he stops the pastor. Well, in this case, Beth Phoenix says he does. And we're off to the races. So I thought that was a really, really good way to go off. I was glad to see it be the main event. But it was a really good way for it to go off the air, because I thought it just was entertaining as hell. It was definitely not NXT 1.0, definitely not what we're accustomed to knowing about the way NXT does their business. So transitioning over to Wednesday night now, All Elite Wrestling. This one's going to be painful for me to say, because I am a diehard Vince McMahon guy. I was a WWE kid product. I've watched everything, just so we're clear. I always watched WCW growing up. Now I'm watching AEW because it's still professional wrestling, and I love professional wrestling. But I was on record saying that AEW just a year ago had a long ways to go, and I didn't think they would make it this fast. What's happened is, as Bubba Ray would say, I'm busted open. There's too many cracks in the wall. And WWE has completely dropped the ball when it comes to talent development and holding their talent on the roster and letting them go. It's not that Vince McMahon has a bad relationship with any of these guys. Adam Cole is on record of saying that him and Vince's last conversation was great. They had a great conversation. He respects him deeply. He's intimidated by the man. Bryan Danielson has actually been having, final say on his character and creative for the last 2 to 3 years. But that wasn't enough to keep him there. He said he had great conversations with Vince McMahon. The reason they're leaving is because All Elite Wrestling is fun. It's more than fun. It's exciting. It's the 18 to 49 demographic that, well, professional wrestling fans just absolutely are drawn to. It's every time WWE goes to Chicago, New York, or, Philadelphia, they go to these wrestling cities. What happens? You get these, marks for sure, these smart mark fans. They hijack the show for sure. But with that being said, they are the entertainment. They make the show feel bigger than it probably is. And that's what the fans are doing for AEW right now, because I got to be honest with you. I still objectively pull myself back and go, man, there's some things on that program that don't make any sense to me. There's some characters on that program that don't make any sense to me. I think they have way too many people now, and they're still trying to promote the hell out of them. How many 6-man tags can you have? How many, members of the Dark Order is there? And what the hell is the Dark Order? And why is it nobody matches? And are they over? Because I don't feel like they're over. There's just so many time slots that are going to people that they really shouldn't. But what happens? The fans make it feel bigger than it is. The truth of the matter is I still think if you take the leader of the Dark Order and you send him over to WWE, is creative killing him? Or are they just not able to swim? Well, at one point in time, I used to think they weren't able to swim with those sharks because WWE used to have sharks. WWE don't have a lot of sharks anymore. They got some old veterans that they're relying on, and they've got some undeveloped young talent that they are just not putting the fire in their ass. I mean, the fire is there for the talent. They want to take off. But it's the first time you're going to hear me say that WWE is not creatively putting any of its fire behind their talent when they should. They should. But the WWE brand is bigger than the wrestlers. Where AEW, it's about the crowd. It's about the wrestlers. Today they were talking on Busted Open about whether or not it's crowd versus camera. Vince McMahon wants you to play to the camera and the people at home and not even acknowledge the people in the crowd. Where AEW, it's all about let the camera capture what the crowd is doing, what the company is doing. And they're just doing a better job of it. That does not mean saying that it's a better product, because I don't think it's a better product. I don't think Jon Moxley had a great match the other night. I don't think some of the things that I saw physicality-wise is just not on the same level, in my opinion, as the WWE. When you talk about shoot matches or, being stiff, WWE does it way better. I think it might come off more smooth maybe, but I think a WWE match is still far superior than an AEW match. But now you've got legitimate wrestlers there. Adam Cole, Daniel Bryanson. Those are legitimate wrestlers. CM Punk is a legitimate wrestler. Rusty, but a legitimate wrestler. Jon Moxley, great storyteller, not a legitimate wrestler. I wouldn't put him in the same era or class. I don't want to say era, but class as CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Tommy N, or Malachi Black, whatever way you want to go about it. Cody Rhodes is a great wrestler. He's a great storyteller. I still think I have my reservations with him, but that's a conversation for another day. Bottom line is that AEW, with the addition of Bray Wyatt on his way, who will be another huge storyteller. Darby Allin is a homegrown developed talent. You've got Orange Cassidy. There's some things there now that make this show fun, make the show exciting, make the show feel fresh and different. And then you add in the element of the crowd going to cheer whoever the hell is out there in front of them, and just because they're happy to be there doing it. It's a dangerous combination, because if it looks, sounds, and feels like it's fun, who am I to tell you it's something different? And that's what I've been trying to argue, is that what you're seeing really isn't good quality, but now you're starting to get sprinkled in just a little bit more of quality. I will say this. It does feel like, for all those WWE fans that left and went to AEW that wanted this, I mean, the roster's filling up quickly with old WWE guys. There's still the names that they're promoting as CM Punk, old WWE guy, Adam Cole, old WWE guy, Bray Wyatt will be a name, Chris Jericho will be a name, Malachi Black will be a name, Daniel Bryanson's another name, Jon Moxley is a name, Cody Rhodes is a name. This show in the head-ups, it's like what you wanted to happen 5 years ago in WWE that just never happened. Because for whatever reason, creative didn't push him, or maybe they did push him, but didn't push him in the right spots that they felt they were entitled to. A lot of different things can take place, but Malachi Black, a.k.a. Aleister Black, was a freaking star, and they didn't use him. Bray Wyatt was a freaking star, and they didn't know how to use him. Daniel Bryan, I think he is the same at WWE and AEW. He is a great piece to have. I don't really know if he was there by himself, if he's moving the needle as much as people might think. CM Punk, however, has proven to be that needle mover. So it's going to be interesting. I don't have too much to say, particularly on the show. As we get going into the season, I'll start breaking down these shows a little bit more, but I think it's more interesting to talk about the constant state of the union of just where wrestling is. And every week right now, it seems to be getting more and more back in the kind of the public eye a little bit. It's on Sports Center more. It's social media trends are there. I just think that wrestling, like I said at the top of the show, wrestling is back because it is. It's fun and it's fresh, and we're at the beginning of this thing. And who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with WWE? Because right now they are still the standard. But there's this underdog that I'm not even sure you can call him an underdog anymore coming. And if you can listen to my old shows versus my new shows right now and listen to the tone in my voice, this is something that is very new for me. And like I said, it's a hard pill kind of to swallow because I am a diehard supporter of the WWE and Vince McMahon. You know, a lot of people will say, why not just support professional wrestling and be happy for both of them? And I am happy because it's going to create a better product for me. But at the same time, it's like saying, why don't you just support Ohio State and root for college football? Well, that's not how it works. I'm a diehard Michigan fan. I've grown up with them. They've got me through some hard times. They've elevated some great times for me, and that's how WWE was. I mean, when you're 9, 10 years old and you're idolizing Hulk Hogan and Shawn Michaels and you live an entire adult life with these guys and you watch them retire, these guys, or it's more than just WWE. It's the characters. It's embedded in you as a person. So yeah, I think it is hard to sometimes shed that. Now, if you were already shed and you were just a fan of professional wrestling and you were watching NWA and New Japan Pro Wrestling and ECW back in the day and WCW and you were just a fan, then good for you. You probably have no ties, but I do, and they're deep and they run real deep. So anyways, I think AEW is here to stay. Time will tell how big they can get. WWE, I think, still has, with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, I still will argue that's the best storyline in wrestling, and it's one that can carry on for quite some time. And who knows where it's going to go. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that we're back off and running and doing this thing. It is a lot of fun. I think we got a better platform now. We do everything live, and then to be on YouTube. Follow me, Instagram, JBB. That's the only place you'll be able to find me right now, as I'm not going to be pushing this anywhere else. It's just going to be Instagram and on YouTube. So Johnny Bang Bang is the name, Robert Gifford, or Johnny Bang Bang is the game, Robert Gifford is the name. And always a pleasure to see you guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.